Alright, here's tutorial number 4. We're going to remove the flywheel with a nice technique. First thing we got to do is remove this starter cup. Then this plastic piece which directs the air, that's attached to the flywheel. We'll take that off. And I'll show you a little trick to get this flywheel off without having to use any special puller. Before we start, let's take a look. We got an armature wire running to this, and it runs all the way through. So let's disconnect this wire on the engine. We'll pull that through here. And before we start anything, let's finish parking our bolts from the previous exercise. Got a couple nuts here from the shroud. Put them on a couple turns, and nothing will get lost from here out. So that's kind of nice. So we got our shrouds on, and if we look here, we've got a bolt in the center on the flywheel. We're going to zip that off today with an impact. We're going to zing. We're going to take it off, and that will, it prevents the flywheel. If we were to just take a ratchet, it will just keep rotating the flywheel. We'll never really get it off. So when we get this off, we'll park it later. But you got your starter cup. You had one nut. There's no washer. This plastic shroud will then come off. Okay, and it's got one specific way. You can see a pattern here. All right, actually looks like a small cam lobe. So we'll take that off, throw that in here with our parts, okay, and our flywheel. We'll get all this in the shroud in a second. Now before we take the flywheel off, we're going to notice there's a key in here. Let's take the armature off now that we've got the wire disconnected, and pop these guys off here. And I'll move this flywheel, get the magnet away. We want to get this armature off, and you can actually put this thing on backwards. So maybe we'll make a note that, hey, the wire was on the bottom of the armature. But you can also see that the wire is kind of formed to the spark plug this way. If we were to do it the other way, the wire is on the bottom, the spark plug wire. So these bolts right here are also important. If you, and I'll get them out, if you were to tighten these bolts on accident, over tighten them, you're going to wreck the entire block. All right, if you break this tab off, we either have to custom weld it, fill in the hole, and it's a nuisance. So just take these bolts, park them on, and we can take either a brass mallet. What I like to do is I like to take something with a soft surface so we don't non-marring. We put the nut on quite a few turns. We're going to hold the flywheel up like this. I'm going to hold just the flywheel with my fingers, and I'm going to whack it hard. All right. And I'll show you what just happened here. No special puller. The flywheel comes off, but this has a tapered, okay, a tapered shaft going into a tapered hole, so it's called a taper lock. It's also got a flywheel key. So now this, you can look at that. You can suck up a socket with the magnet. So the flywheel's off. So let's take our flywheel. Let's put it inside here. Let's put everything inside at once inside our shroud, store some parts in there. We could put our starter cup in there, and then let's park this nut right back onto the flywheel. So again, that's a taper lock, but it also has a key. No key, no timing. Okay? The engine will not start. Now normally these keys are made out of aluminum, so if this engine was to hit a giant stump or suddenly stop, the flywheel has so much centrifugal force it can actually bend the crankshaft. So otherwise it will snap this. So if we look here, we can either take a needle nose, which is sometimes difficult here. I'm going to get this shroud out of the way. So we've got our parts. And we can work, I'm going to actually use pliers here and work this flywheel key back and forth a little. Alright, you can kind of see it working back and forth to get it out. Now it looks like a half moon. There's the flywheel key. Looks like a half moon here. Now this one we don't want to lose. I mean, I guess we could stick it to the magnet if we wanted to. We could stick it right to here. It's not going anywhere. This one's actually steel, not aluminum. But I'm going to collect all these flywheel keys, so you come up, give me the flywheel key. If we had to store it, I would say store it either A, on your flywheel, or put it in your air cleaner. We don't want to lose this. Okay, so for now I'll put it in the air cleaner. And that process is complete. Everything is parked. Take our armature and put that into our shroud so we can see we can put all our parts in here so we can store them all in the cabinet properly. Okay, that concludes that.